Hello my dear friends, so welcome to this new class, and today we shall shift our topic from economics to geography. Shall begin our first lesson today, and the first lesson is about resources and development. So resources and development. I'm quite sure you have already learned about resources from class 8, class 9 and so on. So in short or in simple words we can say resources are something that is useful for us. Anything that is useful can be said as a resource. It may be a small safekeeping. If it is useful for one person, then it becomes a resource for that person. It may not be useful for everyone. So what is useful for me may not be useful for you. So if it is useful for me, then it will be a resource for me. If it is useful for you, then it will be a resource for you. So it all depends on whether it is useful for one person or not. So let us see in little detail. So you can use your textbook, lesson number 1, page also number 1. So if you look around in your house or in your surrounding, you will find lot of items are used in making life comfortable. So just look at your own house. What are the things there in order to make a life comfortable? If you go to some places, there may not be many things. There may be just a bamboo house and few utensils, a little few clothes and so on. But if you go to some other house, you will find there are so many other things. They will have a very good house, they will have plenty of clothes, they will have plenty of variety of utensils, cups, plates, cooking vessels. They will have a lot of other equipments, fridge, TV, inverter, a lot of things are there. So again, all those things are useful for us, and we can say they are all resources. They are useful, therefore they are resources. And everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided it is technologically accessible, economically feasible and culturally acceptable, can be termed as a resource. So you can underline in your textbook what it can be termed as a resource. So all the things that we find which is technologically accessible. So in order to make a thing that is a resource, it should fulfill 3 conditions. First of all, it is technologically accessible. So if it is there somewhere and we are not able to touch it, we are not able to receive it, then it cannot be a resource for us. For example, look at the sky. So many planets are there. We are not able to have access to most of them. There may be so many great things we do not know. We have not gone. So it is not accessible. We don't have technologically accessible. We are not able to reach out. And therefore, whatever is there is not a resource for us because it is not accessible to us. So something that should be accessible only can be said as a resource. So technologically we should be able to use it. For example, the minerals that are under the earth, with the technology we are able to take it out. So technologically accessible, they are technologically accessible. And the second condition is it should be economically feasible. Feasible means it should be profitable. So economically it should be profitable. For example, deep down the earth, let's say there is a little bit of mineral is there. So we dig down deep to take out that little mineral. So it is not economically feasible. For digging down so deep, we have to spend so much of money. We have to bring so many machines. We have so many people how to work, and so much of money is spent, and at the end we get very little mineral. So it is not economically feasible. So it will continue to remain there. Nobody will bother to take because it is going to be expensive. So such kind of things are not mineral or not resource for us because it is not useful for us at present. Maybe in the future it will start growing and it will become very big. Then it may be feasible for us. We may be able to take it out. But for the time being, at present, it is not economically feasible because the money that we have to spend for taking out that mineral is more than what we are going to get. So, if it is not a profitable thing, if it is going to be a loss, then we are not going to use it. And third one is it should be culturally acceptable. So the things that we do, it should be acceptable to the country, to the people. Cultural. We have to keep up our culture. If it is something against our culture, then we don't do it. We should not do it. So it should be technologically accessible, economically feasible, and then culturally acceptable. These are the three things that we have to keep in mind in order to find out whether a thing is a resource or not. So if these three things are okay, then we can say that thing is a resource. Otherwise we cannot call it a resource. Now we can draw we can compare this diagram to the interdependence in order to show the dependence. So top we can say it is nature. Nature is there. Then in this corner there is technology. Then here institutions. And here in the middle it is human beings. So human being is in the middle. So that shows the interdependence. The human being is dependent on nature, technology, and institutions. What is institutions? All these setups like company, office, house, all these are institutions. The buildings that we make, the offices that we have, the party offices, the other building offices, all these are institutions. So technology, institutions and nature, all these are needed for human being survival. And so human being is dependent on each other. So this diagram will show, this triangle will show that how human beings are dependent on all the other nature, technology and institutions. And the process of transformation of things available in our environment involves an interdependent relationship between nature, technology and institutions. So that's what we said. Interdependent. Technology is depending on human beings. Without human being, there cannot be a technology. Without institution, without company, without offices, without different buildings and other setups, we cannot have all the other things. And all these things are coming from nature. Therefore, all these things are interdependent. One is depending on the other. If one is not there, then all the others will be affected. Then human beings interact with nature through technology and create institutions to accelerate their economic development. So human beings is making use of the nature, then we will find out new technology and will create lot of institutions, companies, offices, factories and so on. So that way they will improve their economic conditions. So that is the main aim of human beings. Human beings are making use of all these things, nature, technology and institution, in order to improve their financial conditions, in order to improve their economic development. That is their main target, that is their main purpose. So human beings alone cannot go on progressing. You need the help of nature, technology and institutions. And if you use too much nature, then the nature will get damaged. So we should keep certain balance. We should not be so greedy that I want to get maximum profit, I want to get maximum money, and so we start exploiting the nature and other things, then the nature gets damaged. So such things should not take place. We should be aware about the delicate nature of this nature, and if you are not using very carefully, then the nature can get depleted. It will become slowly the quality will go down. Then do you think that these resources are free gifts of nature as assumed by many? So most of the people think that these resources are a free gift of the nature. So that is what some of us think, but exactly that is not correct. So they are not the free gifts of nature. Resources are a function of human activities. So most of the resources are coming because of the functions of the human activities. If the human beings are not there, then most of these resources will not be useful. So human beings, with his power, with his intellect, with his wisdom, with the help of technology and institutions, we are able to make use of these resources. Otherwise it will simply remain there, useless. So the minerals that are under the earth, who is going to make use if human beings are not there? So the water that is flowing, if human beings are not there, only the animals may use it for drinking and so on. But if human beings are there, we are able to think about this water, how to make use of this water. Maybe we can build a dam and use it for irrigation. We can use it for producing electricity. And so there are so many usefulness are there of the water. So all that is possible because of the human beings, because of the technology, because of his intellect and wisdom. So we cannot simply say the minerals or the resources are a free gift of nature. So it is all because of human activities. Then human beings themselves are essential components of resources. You can underline that also. Human beings are essential components of resources. If human beings are not there, then all these resources may not be useful as they are today. So they transform material available in our environment in order to use them as resources. So many materials that are available in our surroundings, if it is just remaining as it is, then they are not of very usefulness for us. They are not very useful for us. But when because of human being changing them, converting them into useful things, therefore they become a resource for us. And resources can be classified in following ways. So that is the just introduction about the resources and the human beings. What is the important role that human beings play in order to make a material a resource? So we said resources can be called, a material can be called a resource under the three conditions. First of all, it should be economically feasible, then it is technologically accessible. With the present day technology, we should be able to use it. Then thirdly, it is culturally acceptable. So if our culture says don't use this one, then we should not do it. It will not be a resource, because if we are going against our culture, many people will be unhappy. So we should respect the culture of that area, culture of the people, and we should do things that are acceptable to the people. It may be some development, but we must make sure that it is acceptable to the people. The culture is not destroyed, and so on. Now let us see about the different types of resources. So resources are there. Then that can be divided into two: natural, then human made. So some resources are natural, coming out from the nature, then other ones are made by human beings. So human made resources and natural resources, these are the two types of resources that are available. Then we will concentrate on these natural resources. It can be divided again into renewable and renewable and non-renewable. So natural resource can be divided again into renewable and non-renewable. Then this renewable can be divided again into two. Renewable can be continuous or biological. Then this biological can be divided again into two. So a lot of divisions are there. So biological, it can be divided into natural vegetation, then and wildlife. So we say once again, resources can be divided into natural and human made. Now the natural resource can be divided into two: renewable and non-renewable. Then this renewable resources can be divided again into two, that is continuous and biological. Then biological resources can be divided again into two, that is natural vegetation and wildlife. So that is how the divisions are there. Then again, it is not at all. Then non-renewable resource can be divided into two, that is recyclable and another one is non-recyclable. So these non-renewable resources can be divided into recyclable. Recyclable means can be reused again. We can reuse again. Maybe we change the shape and so on. For example, the plastic, the broken buckets and other things, the plastic instruments, we can sell it to the factory, and the factory will reshape it. So they will not just destroy and burn and throw it away, but they will melt it and use that plastic to produce something else. So that is recyclable. the paper that you have, the notebook, the textbooks, everything, don't just burn and throw it away, but you sell it to the people who are buying paper. They will sell it to the factory, and factory will use this paper again to create new notebooks, new textbooks, and so on. So that is recyclable. This paper is recyclable. Then there are some things non-recyclable. If we use once, it is finished. We cannot use it again. That kind of things are non-recyclable. For example, can you say non-recyclable? For example, the diesel that we use in the vehicle, the petrol that we use. If we use once, it is over, no more found. It is just used and finished. It is no more, no waste is there, nothing is left out. So that is a non-recyclable. It is once it is used, it is no more found. Then, with regard to human, we can say it is divided into two. One is structures and institutions, Structures, the buildings, all that is made by human beings, that's why human made. The buildings, the machines, all that is made by human beings. Then another one is quantity and quality. Quantity and quality. So these are the different types of resources. I hope you follow it. So you can say, once again I will say, resources can be divided into two: natural resource and human made resource. And natural resource can be divided again into two: renewable and non-renewable. Then renewable resource can be divided into continuous and biological. Then biological can be divided again into natural vegetation and wildlife. Then we come to non-renewable resources. That also can be divided into two. One is recyclable, another one is non-recyclable. Then we come to human-made resources, which also can be divided into two. One is structures and institutions. Another one is quality and quantity. So these are the different resources, or these are the way that we classify the resources. So I hope you understand. So different resources are there, and we will study in the next class in detail. We will learn with examples and so on. But as for you, try to read the textbooks, try to learn these names, and try to understand which are the divisions, which are the type of resources available, or which are the conditions in order to say a material to call itself as a material as a resource. These are three conditions. It should be economically feasible, technologically accessible, and culturally acceptable. And once we find out these resources are there, some of them are natural. It is there in the nature itself, like air we breathe, water we use from the river, all that is natural resources. Then human-made resources are there, the structures, the buildings that we make, all the different variety of things that we make, the pots, the machines, the fan, the fridge, all these equipments, everything that we make. Then the quality and the quantity. So sometimes we make plenty of things, and sometimes we make very good quality things. So all that is important. So we shall wind up for today, and in the next class we will study in detail about these resources. So thank you for listening. Have a nice day. Bye.